don't make me do it. I got too much to lose. I've got too much to lose. Too much to lose. Now lay me in the wilderness to dry up bits of your sweet caress. I can't wait no more. Willow trees have died and the last horn lark will fly. Got me feeling dusty. Got me feeling dusty. Please tell me it's a dream. Worst kind you've ever dreamed. Oh, another night. Don't wanna walk another mile. Oh, please don't make me do it. 'Cause I got too much to lose. I got too much to lose.
Good evening, everybody, as I come into focus here in the Indianapolis headquarters of MG Wellness. I'm Nate Manahan, and I'm going to be your host for the next 25, 30 minutes as we talk about vitamins. But luckily, you don't have to listen to me about vitamins because that, well, I would probably lead you down the wrong road and maybe the wrong vitamins. Who knows? So let me bring in the people that really know. Dr. John and Dr. Kelly, how are you this evening?
We are doing great. Hello, all.
Greetings and salutations, humans.
Salutations. That's always a good thing that we can have. I'm not sure what that means, but
Whatever.
greetings. Salutations. Aren't they the same thing? Isn't that is there anything different? Is salutations higher than greetings, or is greetings higher than salutations?
I think salutations are higher than greetings. Greetings are the basic, and then salutations are the step above.
Thank you for that.
So greetings and salutations, humans.
All right. Well, let's start by our questions on vitamins. We welcome everybody. In fact, before we do all that, let me remind you that we are so glad you're here tonight as we do our summer MG Wellness Live. In fact, it's actually really is summer now. And so we encourage you to share this. Just click that little share button if you're on YouTube or Facebook, and share it with your friends, family, and loved ones, and even those who are annoying you at this very moment. See, Dr. John and Dr. Kelly are sharing among each other. You can ask any question you want to, and we will answer only the best ones. And no, we'll answer all of them, and we encourage you to enjoy. Dr. John, Dr. Kelly, let's start out with, let's define what type of vitamin, because a vitamin is simply something that exists in our food. It exists, but we're talking specifically tonight about the little tablets that you can take that may either be a multivitamin or the variety of alphabets that you can walk through the Walgreens, CVS, and the Rite Aids of the world, correct?
That is correct. It is so did you know that supplements are a $30 billion business in the United States? Billion. Yeah, 30 billion. That's crazy. So,
That's more than I spend on crap from Amazon.
just over what he spends on Amazon.
It is a close race. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yes, very much so. But vitamins are micronutrients, small nutrients that are not made in our bodies and that we need to take into our bodies somehow to have better nerve function, better gut function, better function of everything in our body, skin, eyes, whatever. So that's what vitamins are.
And that's why you will often hear them called essential. Essential basically means, I almost said essential, essentially means. Essential basically means that you are not able to produce them. They have to be brought in from food.
Correct.
Like Dr. Kelly was just talking about. you have to get them from the outside, whether it's from food or it's from a tablet. But you cannot make them. That is what makes them essential. There used to be other vitamins listed. Now we have we're going to talk about vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin C, and then vitamin B1, B2, B3, B6, B9, and B12. Okay, that was a lot of stuff I just said. But the big thing is, there's no longer an essential vitamin B4, B5, B7, B8, and B11, or even B10. Because they aren't essential. Your body can make them. But the ones we talk about, A, D, E, K, C, B1, B2, B3, B6, B9, and B12, you cannot make. You have to get them from another source.
And they're needed for really, really important functions in our body.
Well, but even if they weren't needed for super important functions, you can't get them. And so you would die without them.
Therefore, they are needed for important functions in our body. Because without them, you would die.
Do you want rickets? Do you want beriberi?
I proved my point.
So what we're saying is some of the vitamins, like some of the miscellaneous Bs, are just baloney, but many of them are very
be necessary.
essential.
Essential, be necessary.
Be necessary.
Excellent.
All right. So, but let's start.
Benign.
No.
Okay, then we're going
Beautiful?
there.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all know, or at least I've shared multiple times, that I wake up every morning. I take a series of some vitamins, mostly just a multivitamin that I've been convinced that I can spend lots of money on, but they're from derived food sources. But what we learn is that all the vitamins that we take in pill form are necessary or even doing any help. So let's start with, should we just be if we need to add things from food, what foods other than food, what vitamins do we not get well from food?
Vitamin D.
Great question, doctor.
I think vitamin D is the one that we struggle to get from food. And actually, what is reported out there in the world in the grocery stores is that milk is the best source of vitamin D. And we all know that dairy is toxic to us. And so vitamin D is something that a lot of Americans struggle to get an adequate amount from. Now, this is what is fascinating to me. All that it takes to get enough vitamin D is 15 minutes of sun a day.
15 minutes of outside activity
not like
a day. Not like you
direct
have
in the sun on the beach.
That's nice, but it's not necessary.
So 15 minutes of outside a day. Do you know that 40% of Americans, almost half of Americans, can't even get 15 minutes of outside a day?
And we have found that that has been shown in the general population. We have also shown in cancer patients that 43% don't have adequate vitamin D. And what's interesting is Dr. Kelly is about to give you an explanation of what vitamin D does for our body, but it does even more.
Okay, well, you have to say that.
No, I'm not. That the even more comes after, talking about bone protection and all that.
Yeah, if we have a lack of vitamin D, what does it cause? It can cause
Rickets.
bone problems, hair problems, and it can actually lead to more illness. One of the things that Dr. John published a study about is that if cancer patients who are undergoing chemotherapy treatment don't have adequate vitamin D levels, they have a really difficult time tolerating chemotherapy, whereas people who are undergoing chemotherapy and they have normal vitamin D levels, they tolerate chemotherapy beautifully.
Yeah, and it was
Not that chemotherapy is fun. I'm not saying that, but
it was independent of age, meaning if you were 69 and had a great vitamin D, you tolerated chemo beautifully. If you were 43 and you had a low vitamin D, you did poorly.
Yeah, just had really struggled to tolerate the chemotherapy at all. And so that is why 15 minutes of outside, 15 blessed minutes.
We're not talking sit out there and fry yourselves so that your bald spot gets burned, but just 15 minutes so that you're walking from the grocery store from the last parking spot instead of the closest parking spot, and then walking back.
Yes.
Things like that help you not only exercise a little bit more, but they give you that little bit more of essential vitamin D.
Correct. So vitamin D is a difficult one to get from foods, and it's important to go outside. The other one that is difficult for certain people to get from their food sources is vegetarian diets really are known, this is widely published, known to really lack in vitamin B12. And vitamin B12, if you're a vegetarian, you would need to take some sort of supplementation for that. And lack of vitamin B12 is going to affect the blood cells, the nerves in our body, and our DNA, how our DNA in our cells actually works, if it works properly or it works incorrectly.
Could you spell DNA for me?
DNA.
Oh, okay.
When
Just checking.
All right. Well, while we're working on our spelling test, here's a question from Jen. She asked, curious about magnesium for mild hot flashes. Yeah, I went there, she says.
Okay, so
Well, you're a week ahead, but we'll venture that direction.
yes, go right ahead. We will talk about magnesium and all things related to minerals next week.
Adequate magnesium is needed to
Do a lot of things.
do a lot of things, but to protect you against hot flashes.
Yes.
If you have a low magnesium, supplementing it is beneficial. If you have an adequate magnesium level, then supplementing it doesn't help with hot flashes by itself.
So, bottom line, if it's low and you supplement it, it can help your hot flashes. So you got to know where you're starting.
Have you ever had chemo? If you've had any of the chemos that we give,
Then you probably have a chronically low magnesium.
and magnesium will help you.
Yes. Magnesium can also help your gut. So that's a good thing to know.
It does. Magnesium helps a lot. It helps your heart,
Yes.
helps your gut, helps your nerves, helps your kidneys.
Okay, we'll go into all that next week. Thanks.
All right. And so, man,
But great question.
I keep going out of focus. Come on, camera. Gotta get that. You guys are it's supposed to be blurry, not me up in this camera.
Nice.
So next week we'll talk about the difference between vitamins and minerals, but just knowing there is one, and we
Oh,
got a
crap.
sneak peek.
I have to
into-
learn that.
Oh man, you guys are in trouble. A sneak peek the magnesium this week. Then where'd my next question? Micah asked. I switched to 2% milk. Still get over 15 minutes. So we're just gonna say, all right. We already said no dairy, but 2% milk. But the question is, does 2% offer any vitamins?
So, okay, I'm going to sit here and
It's fortified,
Yes.
which means it is stripped of all of its essential nutrients, and then they're added back.
correct.
So is that in essence, what we would say is that's better than probably nothing. But still not
actually-
great, or is it?
Milk is just so bad
So,
for the gut.
I mean, honestly, the first thing that anybody over the age of 2 should eliminate to get healthy is
Dairy.
dairy. Dairy leads to cancer. It leads to autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid, lupus, Alzheimer's. It leads to all this. So the first thing you should eliminate is actually dairy.
And 15 minutes of outside is going to help you feel better emotionally, actually, and get exercise, and is going to give you the vitamin D that you need without drinking fortified milk. The word fortified,
It sounds really cool.
yeah.
Like, we're supporting you. Yay, raw milk. We're fortifying.
Well, and they have fortified cereals for kids, and the cereals are, made of all fake colors and dyes and whatever.
And that's the scary thing, is because basically these things are such crap
That we're having to add stuff back to give it any
value, nutritional value.
potential value.
Yeah. And we don't even know, honestly, what the nutritional benefit of putting those back in. Why do I say that? One of the big things that Dr. K was going to talk about tonight.
Is this a quiz?
No. One of the big things is the difference between taking a supplement for most things and eating what's on the end of
fork.
my invisible fork.
So one of the things that I know is that we really don't need a vitamin supplement or fortified whatever if we are eating good for us foods.
Except for
But-
those two specific things we just spoke about.
Yes. But I have some incredible examples. I'm going to look down at my phone because I have to.
I'll smile and look up while she's looking down.
I've got to give you these incredible examples of how easy it is to get a vitamin in your diet. So,
And at the end of this, I'm going to give you a hint on how to do it.
okay. So, let's talk about vitamin B12. So we talked about this with vegetarians, that they sometimes have to take a supplement because really fish is a huge
Which is why we're technically
supplier of vitamin B12.
pescatarians instead of vegetarians.
Correct. But 3 ounces of salmon, 3 ounces is nothing, kids. It's like, something like that. It's very small. Actually gives you way more than you need. It's not toxic levels, but we need about 2 milligrams of vitamin B12 a day, and 3 ounces gives you 5. And so it is tremendously easy to just put good foods on the end of your fork and get what you need from the foods that you eat. Vitamin B6, a medium banana contains about a third of your daily requirement for.
This may make me bring out a picture.
Anywho, let me talk about. Let's talk about. Oh, hang on here. 1 cup of raw spinach. So vitamin K is something that affects our clotting system, and it affects our ability to absorb calcium. Some of us will have spinach salads. 1 cup of raw spinach, which actually isn't very much, 1 cup of raw spinach provides you more than your daily recommended dose of vitamin K. So just small pieces of food.
Banana.
Okay.
Banana.
Thank you. Thank you for that
Banana.
absolute wonderful contribution to this evening's discussion. So small bits of really good nutritious food give you those vitamins instead of going to the vitamin aisle and spending $30 to $50 here, $30 to $50 here, $30 to $50 here. You don't need all that.
Banana.
Stop.
Banana.
Good. Thanks. Okay. Did I make my point, people? Okay.
That one medium banana, he had 12.
Thank you.
Minions rock.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, let's talk specifically about multivitamins and just vitamins as a whole. Is there any of them that are bad to take or just you should not take?
It is possible to overdose on some vitamins.
Yes.
It takes a
lot.
lot, and it takes basically a not functional gut and not functional kidneys. A, D, E, and K, or A, D, A and D,
A, D, E, and K.
but the fat soluble vitamins, the ones that last in your body a little longer, it is easier to overdose on them, although it is still hard to overdose.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to take an extraordinary amount, and I'm not challenging you to do that. Don't, please. But you would have to take a lot of mega ultra dose. In fact, there are lots of warnings about taking those that say that they're like mega dose or ultra dose.
Right.
Those can be very dangerous.
Yes.
And if you look at the data on the helpfulness of a daily multivitamin, I know it sounds so anti-doctor to say this, but really a daily multivitamin has not been shown to make any impact. And there's two reasons for that. Let me just say this. And
Agreed,
then you can
100%.
say, there's two reasons for it. Number one, if you're eating a healthy diet, you're already getting all those vitamins. On the other hand, if you're not eating a healthy diet, a multivitamin is not going to A, be absorbed, or B, make any difference when you're putting toxic stuff in your body. So it's really not been shown to
Absolutely.
be helpful.
So, one of our former residents who had a baby last year, who lives outside Chicago, who shall not be
Yes,
named, and I
yes.
don't know if she's on tonight, she would always talk about, what do vitamins do? They make expensive pee.
Yes.
And that's basically true, because the environment that is needed to absorb most vitamins, we talked about D from the sun and B12 separately, but most vitamins don't absorb well in just pill form. For instance, vitamin D, if you try to take an oral supplement and you're not taking it with fat, it goes straight out the other end.
So you have to take it with the proper foods. So then, if you have to take it with the proper foods for it to be absorbed, why not just take the proper foods and get your vitamin D from going outside for your mental health and for your vitamin D levels? 15
Especially if you
minutes each
live
day.
in the Midwest or North, we all know that seasonal affective disorder exists.
Yes, very much so. And so as we have turned into a world that works inside and works in front of a computer and sits, and we're holed up in, now home
Quarantine.
settings and office settings and whatever, we are not getting enough outside for our mental health, let alone vitamin D. But anyway,
Absolutely.
I digress. About
No, but-
multivitamins,
no, but
I
that-
think that's important.
But that's true because of the whole thing, that the most important thing you can do is eat. And this is what I was going to say towards the end. I was going to give a big hint on how to get the right vitamins. Eat a rainbow diet.
Yes. Eat a diet that has colors all throughout the rainbow. That's really, really important. If all of your foods look beige or yellow, that is a bad situation.
Yes. I mean, for instance, I know people like potatoes. They don't do much for you, peeps. They're white.
And especially in
beige.
French fry form, they're really toxic.
But a
Tasty,
sweet
but
potato,
toxic.
great.
Yes.
Carrots, great. Salmon, great.
Blueberries, all the green leafies, red apples, raspberries, strawberries.
Squash.
Yes. A wider range of colors. And then you will not only have the vitamins that you need, but all the other things that need to go along with those vitamins for them to be absorbed into your body.
One of the sad things that I know I learned during medical training, and I used to tell people, and I am embarrassed about this, is I used to claim that vegetarians didn't have adequate protein. That is hilarious because it's just not true. If you are an intelligent vegetarian who not only eats your cruciferous and your allium, but also eats nuts and seeds, Ta-da!
You can have great protein levels. Now, if you're a vegetarian that eats a lot of pasta, then that can be damaging.
Oh, absolutely.
But
There
a
are good
healthy-
that's what I said. There are good
Yeah.
vegetarians and bad vegetarians. And I
Well,
don't mean
not
people.
as people.
I mean it's what you
There
eat.
are healthy vegetarian diets
and
there are-
non-healthy vegetarian diets. Thank you, doctor.
Absolutely.
But if you're eating non-processed foods, nuts, legumes, seeds, cruciferous, allium, throw in some squash,
then you don't need a multivitamin.
you don't need a multivitamin.
And you don't need all the other vitamins at the store that are going to make you waste your money.
Minerals we'll get into next week.
Yes.
All right, but let's put it in scale here for those, if the choice is they're not going to eat a healthy diet, and 96% of the Americans are going to choose that way, would a multivitamin help at all?
Actually, so what's interesting is that study that was done, there's been 2 now, giant studies that showed the absorptions levels of multivitamins. They were done in the general populace. And in the general populace, if you just take a multivitamin, what you create is expensive pee.
Yes. It just doesn't get absorbed.
It doesn't get absorbed. So if you eat a crappy diet, like 90% of America or 96% of America, you don't absorb it. That's the problem.
Right. And if you look at reputable science institutions such as Mayo Clinic and their interpretation of the literature on this subject, it is exactly the same, that a multivitamin, although it is recommended by many, 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 many doctors and providers, there is no scientific evidence that it can correct anything about a bad diet or that
Correct.
it's helpful if you have a bad diet.
No, and
So-
that's what's interesting is
Yeah.
when we're talking straight vitamins, we're not talking minerals right now, we're talking vitamins, that there's really no benefit in a regular person eating a crappy diet and
taking a multivitamin.
taking a multivitamin. And there's no benefit if you're in that 4, 5, 10% that's eating a healthy vitamin or healthy diet, you don't need it.
Yeah.
If you're someone who actually has a deficiency,
That's a different situation.
And-
If there are certain
you live on the North Pole,
right, you live in a certain location, or you've had a significant amount of abdominal surgeries, certain types of abdominal surgeries,
or
bowel
technically
surgeries.
if you're vegetarian or over 65, you don't absorb B12 well enough.
Right. So that is the one thing that can be helpful is vitamin B12 in those situations. Well,
And my mind just went blank, and I was about to give something very, very deep.
it was probably the most important thing that he would ever say. And
Probably
it's
more,
gone.
probably more important than the Minions.
Okay, well, we can move on then. It's gone.
Okay, it's
and
gone.
So there are a couple questions in there, but one other follow-up. How do we judge ourselves, or not judge? Well, we all judge ourselves. That's a problem. But how do we find out if we do have any vitamin deficiencies? Is there blood tests that we should take, or just be looking for symptoms, then react?
It's very in the United States. It's very, 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 very rare to have
A vitamin deficiency.
other
Now,
than
vitamin D and vitamin B12.
if you're a vegetarian.
And those you can measure levels of, and they are
In fact, most primary care doctors, most oncologists even now will check a 25 hydroxy vitamin D, which is 25 cholecalciferol. That is the level they should check.
yes, and they will check
A vitamin B12.
a vitamin B12 level.
which also can be told just by the size of your red blood cells.
yes.
So those are the 2 that are necessary. In the third world, that's what I was going to say. It was more important.
I'm going to put up May's question because she was asking this, and I think may go together with what you're about to say. So we'll put them all together. If we often give a vitamin to the Ivorians, Ivory Coast.
Yes.
Does this help them at all, or is it a waste?
Thank you. That is exactly what I was going to talk about. So, one of the things that's missing in the third world, especially Africa and Asia, is vitamin A. Vitamin A is the number one cause of early blindness
In the world.
in the world. And so, if you're living in a country that doesn't have adequate food sources,
Then yes.
then vitamin A is key. And May, thank you for reminding me. Ta-da!
Oh my God.
Great question. I didn't even tell her to say that. That's awesome.
All
Way to go, Portland.
All right, Micah asks, and let me bring that up here. It says, is there a beverage that is convenient to grab that does fulfill some daily vitamins? Example where there may be a day you can't get them, and then you get the needed. It cuts
Nutrients.
off nutrients. I think. Yeah.
I don't, I'm going to actually look that up and make a post out of that because I know that there are, but I don't know
What the best is.
John just said V8 and
We'll look it up.
we'll look it up.
I remember from, shall we say, years ago,
Yeah, I want to do a post on that.
that, I had a certain colleague that claimed you could, just drink beer and take vitamins. You're fine on vacation.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
No, but I do think that there are certain beverages that, and I know a lot of people don't like tomato juice, but
Yep.
I want to look that up actually because that's a good.
That's a great question.
Well, there are lots of people who like tomato juice. It just comes in a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
With some vodka. I think
With
really
a
what
celery-
With celery
and a piece of
and
bacon.
nice little Old Bay thrown on top.
Yeah.
And Tabasco.
we know. John just gets it for the Old Bay so he can lick it off the top.
Exactly.
then he just
Why
has the
salt
can
the
of
rim? Old
Old
Bay
Bay.
the rim.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So as I think we're 9:07 p.m. Eastern time, the sun is setting outside the window. So as we close up this evening, next week we'll be talking about minerals. But Dr. John, Dr. Kelly, any closing remarks before we close out tonight?
For me, before Dr. Kelly, and I apologize if
No, go.
I interrupted.
Go, please.
Honestly, if there's one thing we can,
Impart.
ooh, that's a really good word. That's,
Impart.
although short,
is-
it is a 10-cent word.
Go.
Rainbow.
Eat a rainbow of foods. That's really what we want our message to be to you guys. And I know you probably get tired of us saying this, but if you put good stuff on the end of your fork, it's amazing that your body actually behaves like it's supposed to.
I mean, we have had patients, friends, reverse disease processes that
By doing that.
you don't normally expect. Ovarian cancer, their numbers go down.
Yes.
Rheumatoid arthritis, they get off medicines. Diabetes, they get off medicine. Osteoarthritis, getting off medicine. Hypertension, getting off medicine.
Yes.
I mean, that's phenomenal that the most important the most important medicine
Is food.
is food. And it's true.
So this is my message. Let food be your medicine.
She says it so much better than I do.
All right. And on that, we will say good night.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.